Always great to be on. I've missed you guys. By the way, I get Yanni, and I've been watching the show. You guys are looking handsome. You're looking. You guys are doing a great job. Jerem, do you ever get the Michael Cera comparisons?
Yes, a lot. Yes.
I'm really looking forward to Arrested Development. You're great on that.
That must be a fun, sexy time for you. There's money in the banana stand. I've been telling you that for a long time, Mark. I love that show. I've been watching that with my wife to get ready for season 5.
So good.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Well played, Mark. Like we said, it's great to have you back. And it's great to discuss Yoeli Childs back with BYU basketball for his junior season. How much of a difference do you think that will make for BYU next year?
Well, I'm so happy about that. I feel a special bond with Yoeli because I've seen him play since he was little, comparatively, and he played with my son at Bingham, and I'm just thrilled that he came to BYU and that he's had so much success, and I just couldn't be happier to see him coming back. And it's just, as far as BYU being the team that we all want them to be, it's just critical that Yoeli come back. It's so difficult, guys, to have a really talented scoring big man. If you can have one of those guys, you are way ahead of everybody else, because obviously guard play is important, but I mean, guards in a lot of ways are a dime a dozen. It's if you have a good big man, that can really carry a team, whether it's Landale or Gonzaga has one every year, which is why they're always really good. But you have to have a strong inside scoring presence that's a real threat. It helps your guards be better. It helps open the floor, puts all kinds of pressure on defenses. And Yoeli has been amazing these past couple years. And you add another year onto that, and you saw at the end of last year he started shooting the threes with great consistency, and he's going to be able to open up that part of his game. And it's just going to be absolutely critical. You guys were talking about NCAA tournament chances, and it's going to be really tough. But without Yoeli, I say almost a 0%. Yeah. And with Yoeli, I think you've really got a good chance.
We know about 10 games of the 15 in the non-conference right now announced or reported publicly. What do you think of the non-conference schedule BYU's put together?
Well, I like it. I mean, it's just going to be how it has to be now. You have to play people. And I like that the NCAA, you can play a team on the road that's good, and if you lose, it's not going to destroy your chances. You just need to have that strength of schedule. And you go to Nevada, who was terrific last year, and obviously you have Utah, and you go down in Vegas, UNLV and San Diego State, Mississippi State, Houston. I mean, that's a good, solid lineup. It's not overwhelming. I know some people think, well, you've got too much, you swung the pendulum too far the other way, but I think these games are games that BYU can compete in and possibly win. And if you can get a couple of wins against really good teams, then you really vault yourself into the conversation rather than scrapping and clawing to try and be relevant. If you can get on a run, and you're going to have a little bit more experience this year, and maybe in those early season games you can find a way to get some wins, and then you're on the radar. And then obviously you've got to avoid the bad losses, and that's really been a problem for BYU the past couple of years. But there's just no other choice. If you want to go to the tournament, you have to play these types of games, and you have to play them wherever you can get them. Dave Rose understands that. I think Randy Bennett understands that now, and that's just the way it is for teams other than Gonzaga in the conference. And Gonzaga, they've always gone out and played people, which I commend, but that's just, if you want to get in the tournament, there's no other path. And so you take them head on. And I like the schedule so far.
Mark Durrant with us on BYU Sports Nation, BYU basketball analyst. The return of Yoeli Childs coupled with Nick Emery's recent announcement that he will be back, I feel like, Mark, will give BYU 4 to 5 more wins on the schedule than they would have if those guys weren't there. Am I crazy to think that Nick Emery and Yoeli Childs can make 4 to 5 wins of a difference in one season?
No. I mean, to me, that's on the low side. I think Yoeli's going to be one of the premier players in the West, one of the best big men in the West. And like I said, how important it is to have a guy like that. obviously Elijah Bryant leaving was pretty devastating, but you're getting back Nick Emery, who was an all-conference player. And I saw Nick a few weeks ago. He looks tremendous from every account. He's playing the best that he ever has. And if he can fit into that system with Yoeli and try and replace some of that Elijah Bryant loss, and you bring in some of the new guys, I know everyone's really excited about Gavin Baxter and what he can do. I think maybe that's part of the reason Yoeli came back, because those guys, I think, know each other and have played growing up together and are excited to play together. And so absolutely, I think those two guys are worth those amount of wins. I mean, without them, I think BYU's in serious trouble, and maybe they lose more than 5 or maybe 10 games. So this is just great news for everybody involved that both Yoeli and Nick are back. I know it was tough to lose Elijah, but with those two guys coming back, with the experience and Jashir and TJ and those other guys, and with some of the newcomers, I mean, I've gone from pretty depressed to being pretty excited about it. So we'll see where it goes, but it was just critical that Yoeli come back.
Gavin Baxter is a guy that played, AAU with Yoeli, like you were talking about, the strong relationship there. Connor Harding on that team as well. He's off a mission, so we're going to have this kind of fun AAU trio together. Wait, we've played this game before recently. Never mind. Gavin Baxter, known as one of the most athletic guys. You've been with the BYU basketball program for a long time. Has BYU had a 6'9" dude that dunks all the time with a 7'2" wingspan and a crazy hops like Gavin before?
Well, probably not. I mean, I played with a guy named Shane Knight that had that same type of body and was a great shooter, could jump out of the gym. And I think Shane probably, with his skills, could have had a better career than he did. But he was great. And so he was, I mean, that's kind of how I see Baxter. But, yeah, it's usually kind of one or the other for BYU. I mean, we get big guys, but they're not always great leapers or really particularly long. Even like a guy like Hoffa or Eric Mika, they were big, but they weren't long. And Yoeli's got some of that, but he's a little undersized for his position. And then you go to guys like Collinsworth and Elijah Bryant, who are super athletic, but just not as tall. So that's a unique mix and can really cause some problems for a lot of teams because, it's hard. Who do we guard him with? Do we guard him with a big, and he'll go out and take us outside? Do we guard him with a smaller guy, and then you're vulnerable inside with his jumping ability? So that's a pretty nice weapon to have. Now, I'm not going to put too much pressure on a guy coming off a mission that hasn't played a second of college basketball, but it is.
That's what we do. That's what we do here, Mark.
I know. I'm trying to save this kid. Listen, I grew up being Devin Durrant's little brother. I'm trying to save this kid from these unrealistic expectations. If he is great, that's awesome. But let's just let him kind of, stop knocking on doors and actually shoot some shots before we crown him as the greatest athlete of all time at BYU.
Ponderize on that, Mark.
I like the way you're thinking. Mark, great to talk to you. It's good to rejoice with you on the return of Yoeli, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Mark Durrant on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.